My name's Joey Salamone. I am the executive producer and the director of photography for Deep River.
I'm Scott Kessler, the writer and director of Deep River.
Fabulous. All right. First, where was your inspiration for the writing of the movie? Like, where did you get your ideas for the movie?
Initially, I read a book of Quentin Tarantino screenplays, and I write anyway. I'm a writer. So I decided to try a screenplay format, and I knew these four guys who lived next door to me who were gun-toting drug dealers, honestly, and I hung around with them a little bit, and they were cool guys, aside from what they did for a living. And the first third of the screenplay is really just adaptation of things I heard them say to each other, stories they told. I changed names, of course, but the second half of the story, the kidnapping and the everything else that happens in it, is really more, I don't know, it's a mishmash of horror novels and movies and various influences, the Misfits, punk rock in general.
Interesting. All right.
Hang on, can you stop for 1 second? I want to get these.
Now, this is for both of you, so you guys can just switch off. How would you probably describe the movie? Not necessarily the screenplay, but like the movie in general. Like, how would you describe it?
Frantic.
Yeah, frantic
Dark.
is good. Dark. As far as visually telling the story, I think that we kind of had a tone of, definitely frantic.
Yeah.
It's the story is supposed to, it's written to move very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And in sequential order, really.
Yeah.
And so the way that we shot it is we shot it very, very even scenes that are just building scenes for the plot that are a little bit slower. There's not a lot of action in them.
Mm-hmm.
We shot them in a dynamic way that
Is
the
visually appealing.
Visually appealing, and the story can continue to move as fast or as slow as we wanted it to at that time.
The story is paced that it goes fast, slow, fast. So the visual style is also like that. The downtime sequences, the parts that are more character development than plot driven, are slower. They're paced slower. They're visually slower. The things that are supposed to be faster and more panicked and more bam are faster and more handheld in your face.
Yeah.
Now, my next question is along the same lines. How would you describe your characters? How do your characters feel? And my next question is going to be actually, what's your favorite character from the story?
I would say that the story itself is about varying degrees of evil. There's not really anybody in the story who is really a good guy. There are just lesser evils.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how they're portrayed in the movie, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And your favorite characters? Probably from the story in general?
I like Saul, the character Saul, and the actor who we got to play Saul, Vince. Vince Mollica. He did did a really, really good job, and I think he nailed the character when we auditioned him, and he's continued to nail it day to day on shoots, and so he's probably my favorite. Yeah.
My favorite's Bob Buchanan, and the guy that plays Bob is actually one of the more direct. In what I mean is in that he's directly the same, straight from the page. The guy plays in the way he's written. Everybody else is kind of, not everybody, not totally, but taking liberties enough as actors. Steve plays Bob the way Bob is written, and if you don't play Bob the way Bob is written, Bob doesn't work, and it fucks the whole movie up.
So, getting on to the actors, who are some of the local actors, actresses?
We've got Ben Henley playing Drake. Shelley Jennings plays a waitress. We've got a guy named Matt Check playing Juergens. We've got
Paul Campbell as Schmidt.
Kelly
Farrah
as Melanie. We have
Tom Horton as Nathan.
Who is also an assistant director.
And the script supervisor. And the sound editor.
Mm-hmm, and the sound editor.
Of course, we mentioned Steve Williams and Vince Mollica already. Ari Bavell plays a mafia hitman named Freddie D'Angelo.
Freddie the Shark D'Angelo. Yeah.
Chuck Mortino plays Ricardo Morelli.
We've got Ashley Lehman and Austin Reed. Ashley Lehman plays Sally, and Austin Reed plays Harlow. So we've got quite a few. We've got quite a few people who've done a lot of work in the Kansas City area before, and
a couple people who have done nothing.
And a couple people who have done nothing, who have not been in a film before.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, we're both very satisfied with the performances that we've gotten.
I'd say about 90. I'm never completely satisfied with anything, but Yeah, I'd say about 95%, 90%.
All right. Now, where's some of the locations you shot? I know you guys stuck to Kansas City area,
Mhm.
but what general areas were you guys shooting?
About half the movie was shot in Joey's house.
Mm-hmm.
We used the house for various locations.
This basement that we're actually sitting in right now is Saul's apartment,
Mhm.
and then upstairs we have Melanie Ashcroft and Nathan Ashcroft's house,
Yeah,
the
the
living room,
kitchen.
dining room, and kitchen. And there was
Um,
one scene, about three scenes shot in the living room, one
Mhm.
big scene shot in the dining room, and then a variation of the same scene
Mhm.
in different time points in
and then
the
the
kitchen.
biggest scene in the movie was shot in the garage.
And then
But that's a secret.
yeah, but that is a secret. So.
Okay.
But yeah, and then as far as actual like restaurants
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, we shot at a restaurant in Kearney called Gino's Italian Cuisine. We shot at a couple bars in
the
Kansas
Pub
City,
House
the
in
Pub
Liberty.
House in Liberty,
And what's the name? Arthur's Lounge
Arthur's
in
Lounge
Kansas City.
in Kansas City.
Is that North Kansas City? Is that considered North Kansas City? I don't know.
I think it is considered North Kansas City. We also shot at a couple varying locations in Pleasant Valley, just a couple office buildings and things of that nature. But
Office buildings that were the the landlord was kind enough to let us use several empty office suites in a warehouse.
yeah.
But
So, and we also did a little bit of guerrilla film work where we would just kind of go places that were secluded enough that we could shoot and wouldn't get caught or found or anything. And you have to be careful when you do stuff like that because our actors are carrying fake prop guns and stuff.
that are painted black.
Yeah, that are painted. The orange tips are painted black, and they look like real guns.
We had a rotating red dome like a cop light that we set off.
Yeah,
in
that
a
we set off.
Suburban neighborhood at 10 o'clock.
We
at night.
shot at a house in Kansas City
Yeah.
too. We shot at a scene at a
At
house
like
in
10
Kansas
o'clock
City
at night with one of those lights going
with
off.
a red dome light going off in the street, cars driving by, and so we guerrillaed a lot of it. Like
kind of like those office suites we were just talking about.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well, what was your budget for the film, and was that a difficulty if it was small or big?
Well, that's really like all him. It hasn't been a difficulty. Actually, it's been smooth, but the machinations of it are him.
When me and Scott first met, probably almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that, we had talked about doing the film about, 2 summers ago?
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that we could never figure out is how we were going to pay for it all.
Yeah.
After I graduated college, I started a small business, which is ICNH Productions, the company that's producing the film.
Insert creative name here.
Yeah, which stands, ICNH stands for Insert Creative Name Here Productions. And I kind of got that company together, and I've done wedding videos and just a bunch of little projects to kind of help fund, and I also borrowed a lot of the money too. So, I mean, it's about, the overall budget is about a $10,000 budget, and that's including some of the equipment that we had to purchase, lighting kits, prop guns, tape, wardrobe, paying the actors, paying for food, things of that nature.
Gas money.
So gas money for people, yeah. So it's been, like I said, it's about a $10,000 film. So hopefully it doesn't look like that though. I think that we've managed to shoot it in a way.
Cost,
yeah, and that is more than El Mariachi cost. So, and he shot that on film.
Mm-hmm.
We're shooting this on digital video. Yeah. So.
Okay, so what special effects? I know you were talking about like blood and the guns. Those are some of the special
We make our
effects.
own blood. So far, we've made almost all of our own blood.
Yeah, we've probably made 3 or 4 gallons.
Yeah, out of corn syrup and red food coloring and cocoa powder and
green food coloring,
and yellow food coloring.
We've done a couple different variations of blood, and I would say 90% of the blood looks really good. There's some scenes that it's kind of sketchy, but
the scene in the trailer with the blood, that was improvised blood, and it's just red food coloring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very bright.
Now, is that the one that's in your trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's in the trailer, which you can find on myspace.com/deeprivermovie. You can find it on YouTube if you just search for Deep River new film trailer, any of those combinations.
iFilm.
It's on iFilms. It is on Google Video, and it will soon be on our website, which is deeprivermovie.com. Also on there is production photos,
blogs.
Hopefully this interview.
Yeah.
Eventually, so.
Blogs, probably a cast and crew page.
This
interview,
page.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what all, but it should have some decent content.